Everybody, this is David Oleski with the Rittenhouse Square Fine Art Show 5 o'clock club, broadcasting live from the home office in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Today our guest is Parris Bacai, our hospitality coordinator. This is one of the first times it's not actually an exhibiting artist or even an actual artist, but she is a interior designer working with Urban Poetic Interior Design in Philadelphia. She brings her expertise to the show with all of her great input, and just as she's just as one of the staff for helping run our hospitality. A few quick things here. The show is June 6th, 7th, and 8th. Applications are closed for both students and professionals. The drum roll has begun. It's a big weekend. We're getting really excited about it. Just this little bit of spring in the air is really making me look forward to what's coming up with the spring show. So going to bring Parris on board here. See if this crazy thing works.
Hey, Dave.
Hello, Parris. How are you?
Good. Nice cup.
Oh, yeah, like hello, Kitty. This is the kinder, gentler, softer side, and usually the mystery beverage gets posted in the comments afterwards, just enough to wet the whistle.
Fair.
So how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing well. So what does a typical day look like for you? Like today, for instance.
Oh, well, today I'm at the store called James, and we're a full design firm, and we have furniture, and we're usually dealing with clients, tons of stuff to do, many things to do. I'm on the phone, I'm putting out fires. It could be any given thing. And we're in Rittenhouse Square, so you never know what's going on.
Oh, so the showroom is right by Rittenhouse Square?
Yes, we're right in Rittenhouse Square. We're on South 19th, right next to Kafar, which everyone loves. But it's a busy, busy area.
Yeah, wow. So it sounds like your day is a lot like artists like myself that may be painting, might be framing, might be even doing construction and trying to install a front door
Or take one down.
or take one down. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no end to what we wind up doing. So real quick, you're the hospitality coordinator for the show, and you've been doing this for how many years now?
So this is my third year anniversary as the hospitality coordinator for the show, which I'm very excited about.
Okay, now one thing I've been wondering as I'm looking at the Urban Poetic Interior Design website, looking at how much you do and realizing how busy you are, why do you want to add something more to all of this to be working with us?
Well, I started volunteering for the show first, a little bit before COVID, because I have a son and he's grown, and now I have time to do more things, right? And then you guys on the lovely board asked me if I wanted to do more with the show. And of course I did, because why not add more things to my plate?
Right?
That's me.
It's never enough.
For. But I love the arts, and it's a way for me to get out and meet all of you guys and meet all the artists, and it's just I love it. It's such a wonderful organization, and I hope I never get fired.
Well, you do a great job, and it's hard to imagine we won't be endlessly thrilled every year with the job that you do. As long as you'll have us, we're more than happy to have you. So, so you wind up, you get to wear several hats, like you're working with the show in hospitality, but I'm sure at all times you're still wearing the hat of interior designer and looking at the artist's work. Is there any do you work with the artists on of the show on an interior design level at all?
No, not necessarily, but I always try to keep at least the artists that I know in mind when I'm working on projects. Like, for instance, I have a client now and they need a sculpture, so I'll reach out to Chris, you know? So it's like certain things, like I'm always thinking how I can incorporate artists in, and especially like explaining to my clients, these are one-ofs. This is not a, for, you know, it's not a print. It's not a print.
Right, right.
Um, and, you know, you'll have this forever and you can follow the artist and so on and so forth. So,
Well, it's nice to know we all have a place in your Rolodex somewhere.
yes. Yeah,
So, some specific questions I have for you. Um, well, first, how long have you been doing both urban poetic interior design and just being in this field?
sure. So I've been an interior designer for 20 years now, and I've had Urban Poetic for about 12 years, which I love.
So,
It's
in 20 years, you've seen design trends come and go. What I'm wondering is what's most notable in what comes and goes? Like taste for color or like more photography as opposed to, a more raw, hand done artwork.
so I feel like the trends are usually more on the side of print or bold colors, but the art really doesn't change. Meaning, like, I have clients that have a leopard sofa, but they have a Renoir, you know, like they'll have something simple. They'll have a Cindy Sherman, or they'll have a Christopher Wool. Like, you just never know. I feel like when I pick art for people, or when people are choosing art, I think you should always choose art that calls you. Not that it necessarily needs to match the theme of the room. So I don't feel like the art really actually changes. I just think everything around it changes.
Right.
Mhm.
Interesting. So, like, sometimes, like the Pantone color of the year, I always see that and make note of it because I know that textile colors, upholstery, that other colors are going to be following that possibly 6 months to a year later. But
Right.
it's something to think about as far as if you still, not to match, but still be part of a theme, to
Mhm.
be thinking about those colors, whether they're vibrant or pastel or earth tones or grays. How
True.
much do you see that flavoring what it is you're doing?
So it's tricky because I'm on the retail aspect of interior design, and just, you know, I do refresh, I do like everything. So technically, using or going towards the Pantone colors is neither here nor there for me, unless it's a new construction and it's a client that's just purchasing everything new and then they want to be on trend for colors, so on and so forth. But all in all, most people do not change their sofas for about 7 years, right? So I'm
Right.
not going to put you necessarily in a bright red sofa and say you keep it longer than 7 years and it's no longer on brand.
Right. I mean, my father was a designer for Armstrong back when that was the catalog showroom that you use as your reference for any interior design decision.
Yeah.
And he used to write an article, and at one point they was saying, is it color color forecast or color conspiracy that
Mhm.
next year's color will match this year's color but not the color from 2 years ago, so that all the colors of everything are kind of working together. Like, I look around my living room and I have some pieces of furniture that I bought when I first got this house 20 years ago, and the colors don't, they don't even exist in the catalogs anymore. So I'm seeing, these big trends are changing, which changes how you would do accessories.
Any space. And I just, again, I think now The way people used to purchase furniture and design their homes have changed tremendously. So, like, for instance, I know my parents had an Ethan Allen living room for maybe 20 years, and then my mom got the sofa recovered. But we've seen the iterations from the mauves and like an olive kitchen. But people are so, like, now, no one cares about keeping things long. So, it's kind of like the short term kind of feel, because if you go on like a marketplace for furniture, if you go on Facebook Marketplace, for instance, someone has purchased a sofa 3 years ago that they spent, say, $3,000 for. They just throw it up on Marketplace. Then they change the whole entire design of their home. It's like fast fashion. That's what
Right.
interior design is now.
Right. That's, and I think that's, I mean, as a painter, I think about that in the colors that I'm using. I'm not always the same colors, and I can look back at older work and see how I've evolved my palette. Things like ochre and mustard and moss green with a terracotta red. There was colors that were really hot
Yeah.
way back at one point, but they'd be dead now.
But the interesting thing, I feel like, with all that being said, with furniture and accessories, what people keep is art. They keep the art. It doesn't matter if it was, we were in the jewel tones or we were in, you know, deeper tones. People will always keep the art and they move from house to house or they move to place or you move it to a different room.
Right. I hear all the time of people that tell me how their work, how my paintings are now in a new home,
Hmm.
or you know, or worse than that is finding out that my painting was the subject of a settlement in a divorce or something. That became this commodity of who got to have it and continue with it. But yeah, you're right that the art is timeless. I mean, there's a friend of mine said artists shouldn't match your couch; it should match your personality.
I agree.
But at the same time, you spent good money on the couch, and the couch already matched your personality. So you would think that everything kind of does work together at some point, that it should kind of match on some level.
Right. And it is the feeling, right? So, like, I'm a person that likes color. So, my art will reflect that, right? So, then it would always, quote unquote, match the space or work with the space. But I don't know. It's tricky these days because most people are brown, tan, and gray.
Right.
Again,
So a question came up: is there it might be a mystery? Is there a color you guys know will always sell no matter what?
Um, of course, if you can always sell a oatmeal or a nude or a tan color sofa because you can build on that base, right? So
Right.
if you have a tan sofa and if it's the holiday season and you want to throw in a little red or a little blue, it always works in the space. And also, if you go in most showrooms, standard showrooms, they show tan sofas, a brown leather sofa, and they show a gray leather sofa. There's not too many colors that they'll show because they know that you can buy the base and build off the base.
Right. I think you just answered the question that Amy Carstensen just asked. What do you think about decorating in neutrals and having the art pop?
I think that's the best case scenario for many people, especially knowing how the trends are. And people, again, they'll buy a sofa and then it's done. If they move to another place, it might not fit. It may fit, they may not want it. But if you buy something in a neutral and build, whether it's from the art or the rug or pillows, then that gives you a little more longevity with your piece.
Right. I mentioned earlier that sometimes as an artist, when you go into a house, as part of your trying to place the art and make sure there's no buyer remorse, you have to kind of wear the hat of an interior designer and explain to them how this color is shocking and striking, but you have ceiling to floor windows facing a golf course. So that's a big color right there.
Sure.
You wind up having to think on your feet, even though it might be night. You
Hmm.
realize they're intimidated by this much blue, and it says, well, in daylight you have that much green.
Yeah,
And they say, oh, yes. And it's like, wow, that was a really valuable observation I was able to make to slam dunk a sale.
for sure.
So I think it's important to understand what it is you do so that we can understand what it is we do.
Yeah. So usually, like for me, a lot of my clients, they already have like a lovely art collection. So then it's just I'm moving them from a larger home and they're moving into a building and we're just scaling it down or curating for the new space. And then I have clients like that are have a new construction and they're interested in pops of color, nothing too, front. They want it to kind of blend in, and then you're leaning, you have to think on your feet all the time. You have to think all the time. You're thinking all the time. You have to sometimes hold people's hands. You have to
Right?
show them where to place it or lean it or so on and so forth. It's just listening to your client. It's really listening and seeing how they live, because at the end of the day, they have to live with it, not us.
Right. Okay, a question came up. I don't know if it's an easy answer. What base colors do you think would go with emerald green accents?
So emerald greens, I like to use like always some brown in the mix. You can, well, that's a tricky question just because it depends on what you want to do with the room. So if you say we have an emerald green chair, so you can always do a rug, like an oriental rug if you want to lean towards that, or a modern abstract rug where it's like other colors. Because if there's more colors in the rug, then you can pull different colors for the walls and so on and so forth. So for me, if I did emerald, I would do emerald and a little blue and a little yellow and always brown leather because it's always chic. So
Right. So it's basically you're saying within the same chroma
yeah.
or relative brightness of the emerald green,
Hmm.
the other colors that are as bright in certain amounts.
Yes.
So years ago, I was trying to place a painting in somebody's house, and they said, "We're just, it's kind of shocking." And I was really new to even, being in people's homes and talking them into a piece of artwork. And I looked around and I said, everything in your room is neutral. It's all taupe and linen and white. You have no other color. And this is suddenly a big spot of color. I said, you have something colorful, like a blanket or something. And they pulled out this bright purple blanket. I said, throw it over the back of the couch. Now
Yeah.
this makes more sense.
Sure.
So they didn't buy that painting. I wound up doing a commission for them. But then when I came back a month later with the new painting, they still had that purple blanket on the couch because they realized, yes, we don't have any color.
Right. And it just takes that little bit of effort, right? You are an interior designer, Dave. Who knew?
Yeah, I know. You have to think on your feet.
You do.
So here's another question. What's a good color for a bathroom that doesn't have natural light?
Actually, depending on the size, let's just say if it's a small bathroom, we like to use big, bold prints. They always work in small places, so it doesn't matter the color, but like a big, bold print always looks fantastic in a bathroom. Or what's really trending right now is black. So matte black in bathrooms with no light has like taken off. But I
Really?
always like to lean towards wallpaper. That's kind of my vibe.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So that's the next question just came up. Once my mother heard you could match patterns with patterns, so
Yeah.
nothing ever matches, but it's all a similar activity like
Exactly.
wallpaper.
Exactly. Because you get a little texture, like wallpaper has a lot of different options, right? So you can do textures and you can do um, grass cloth and leather and rivets, and you can do so many different things with wallpaper. And then art always looks great on top of it. So,
Right. I
yeah.
mean, once in a while, I'm able to place a painting over top of a fairly active wallpaper, and
Mhm.
it's just it sometimes feels like you need a shoehorn to help it to fit
Get it.
in there, but I'm impressed that some people can walk in and just see in a plastic booth on the street with natural light, see a
Mhm.
painting and envision it in a very complex space.
Right.
And when I get there, I feel like I have to compliment them. It's like, you did a great job. I could not have visualized something for this space like you did.
Yeah. It's everything's complex. When we walk outside, it's complex, right? And people can take a photo in the midst of all of the complexity outside, and it can be the most beautiful thing. So, it just sometimes it works. Sometimes in my head for things, I'm like, you know what? I love this wallpaper. And then I'll find a piece of art and I'm like, oh, it worked. Oh, it
Right.
worked. Surprise. So,
Right. So Amy is asking, is it common to move art around? I imagine she's specifically in your field. Would you
yes.
go in and part of your decisions would be to rearrange the collection they already have to suit what they want to do?
Yeah. So I like to move art around sometimes, especially for me in my house, we have art leaning, we have it layered on consoles. We
Oh,
have it
bless your heart. May you live to be 1,000.
like we have like but I like to move things around because sometimes people think that you're supposed to put a certain size in a certain area. So, they'll see a 34 by 34 and they're like, "Okay, you have to put this here." But you don't. You don't actually have to hang things centered, So I
Right.
like to move things around and play with like symmetrical like styles, but yeah, sometimes people just need to see it because they're so used to things being this, and this, but that's just not, you don't have to do things like that.
Right. I mean, in jest, whenever people say they have too much art already, I always say, well, let me stop over. I'm sure I can rearrange things for
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
And but that's me. They say they love my painting. They wish they could own it. They wish they had space.
Hmm.
And I think it's a given that there's always room to move things around and to arrange more things. As long as you actually have walls. I mean, you can see behind me. I'm in a gabled room. There's really
Right.
almost no wall space at all.
But you can hang it from the ceiling. You can
Right.
put it on an easel.
That's
Like,
right.
endless possibilities.
So, our beloved Sandra said McAngle says, how often are you asked to design around the art as opposed to the other way around?
um Sometimes I'm asked to design around the art, not very often, but either way I figure it out because, again, with the art already on your wall, that gives me a better idea of who you are. Because sometimes people have a hard time explaining like their style or who they are and how they want to live in a space. But if the art's already there and you already have like a template, I can figure it out. So,
Right.
yeah.
So, Amy asked, are numerous piece gallery walls on their way out? Like, is salon style on its way out? Do you see like a trend at all of having a wall tiled with work or having impact pieces?
So I don't think that it's out because you got to think about like how some people live. So, for instance, in Philadelphia, there's a nice amount of older buildings where you have all windows and like one wall. And then you have some new buildings where there's a few windows or all window, and then you have to figure it out. So I do have like a client now, and we're doing a curated wall with different size frames and stuff, and that's literally the only wall in her living room. So I don't think it's out. um I also like to still do a gallery wall up steps. I just think that's like my favorite thing of all times. So I don't think it's really out. I guess it's just the way people are want to live at this point and what space they have.
Right. I mean, the way I hang my booth is gallery style. Everything's at eye level, nothing's below it, everything has space. And I believe that's the way it winds up being viewed for purchase, which
Mm.
also means that they can't just tile several of my pieces next to each other because my work doesn't necessarily play well with other pieces of artwork.
Right.
I tend to have like showstopper pieces that become their main piece over the couch or the only main big open wall they have becomes a substantial piece.
Sure. And then my other what I've been doing the last few years, about 4 years or so, is oversized art. So it gives like the hotel feel. It's just a little more glamorous. The bigger, the better, which we're hanging over beds in series. So like a triptych or just two next to each other, but oversized. So that's kind of the style. That's a style that's really taken off too right now.
Yeah, I think, I mean, a lot of homes have crazy high ceilings. I started doing 5 feet by 6 feet verticals
Yeah,
specifically to take advantage of these really crazy high ceilings. And you get to the home and the piece doesn't look that big because it's a 20-foot headroom.
right.
But but you're installing it like it's a showstopper piece.
Right. And it works in standard size spaces too. So even if your ceiling is 8 feet or it's 10 feet, it just gives it more of a curated hotel kind of really, really designed space without doing too much.
Right. Okay, here's a question for you.
Mhm.
As far as height, I try to think of, is this an area where more people are sitting, or is it an area where more people will see it from a distance or from standing,
Mhm.
as far as the height that you're hanging work?
Well, I like to hang art at the distance from sitting. So even like say if it's a TV directly in front of us and it's hung, I would do a small piece of art and then I would also do a large art over the television. So I don't know, I like to hang art where you can see it from every angle, basically,
Right.
right? But
Right.
again,
I mean, like when you said that it shouldn't be centered on a wall, I believe it should be centered on a sitting area
yes.
or like weighted so that it doesn't feel like it's crowding the corner. Centering on the wall can feel too close to an inside corner, so just a little bit out of the space.
Yep. I love that because again, it gives the room a little more motion so you're not such in a box. Just
Right.
hang it anywhere, put it everywhere.
Well, this is really fascinating. And just the amount of questions that have come up. Obviously, this is the pearls of wisdom for I think all of the watchers here. This is really great. And so, if anybody has any questions, feel free to bring those in. But now we're going to segue into the next part of our program, which is your experience with Philadelphia. More importantly, with the restaurants of Philadelphia. So, what do you like around the Rittenhouse Square Park?
Well, right now I like the Schultzen restaurant called Dear Daphne, which is delightful. And if you can get a reservation before 9 p.m., call me because you cannot
Really?
get. So that place is lovely. Um, of course, D'Angelo's on 20th if you want authentic Italian. And if you tell them it's your birthday, they'll sing to you. So every
Okay.
time I go, I tell them it's my birthday.
Oh, it's your birthday again, really?
My birthday again. And then we have really, really fun restaurants around here. And Bolo, which is a Latin restaurant, lovely. It's
Yeah.
on 19th, incredible.
It's
But
on
yeah,
what street?
it's on 19th because this is South 19th. Maybe it's on
Right.
20th. Like
Right.
Samson. Yes. Incredible. So we have really good food around here. We love a good happy hour.
Oh yeah,
Tons.
yeah, no doubt. I was just at Wilder on Sansom, and we love
Oh,
Melograno across the street from it.
yeah. Wilder has fantastic. They have a great happy hour, and they have
Oh
good
yeah,
people.
yeah.
They're great. I'm.
So what else? Well, what else do you like? These are the pearls of wisdom that some people are tuning in for.
I
Is
know.
where to go eat when you come to the show.
Yeah, just ask me. I know all the food places. That I do know.
So here, Bolo is on Sansom between 20th and 21st.
Exactly.
So Bolo, that's a Latin,
Mm-hmm.
Latin as
It's
in
like Latin.
interesting, Latin fusion.
It's delicious.
And D'Angelo's is authentic Italian.
Yes, D'Angelo's top tier.
And,
Hmm.
and and where is that?
So D'Angelo's is on 20th. So I guess that would just 20th, right across from the bake shop that we always go to during the show. Marla is on Marla, where is D'Angelo's? It's on 20th Street.
20th Street. Is that okay, yeah, 19th is the one that intersects with the park. 20th is the next one down. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Right. It's on the same street as the 7-Eleven.
Oh, right, right.
Mhm.
Yes, okay. Good. Wow,
Yeah.
fantastic. So what else can we talk about here?
I don't know. Let's think how we can incorporate more arts in our city of Philadelphia.
Well, we're starting this thing, this outreach of interior designers to try to get more dialogue going. And of course, it'd be great to get artists into everybody's Rolodex.
Hmm.
So how much of a stigma is there for some of your clients from instead of wanting to buy from the street to buy from a reputable gallery or showroom?
So, what I find with the Rittenhouse Fine Art Show, clients that I talk to and people I talk to in general, they know the fine art show is the fine art show. So, they'll go out their way to come to the show. So, they understand that. So, it's not like you're just buying a piece of art from in front of the church.
Right.
you know so they're fully, at this point you can Google the person, you can go on their website, you can follow them from show to show. So I know they definitely in this area they know. So
So how much are your clients actually following up to research the artists that they like?
so I feel like now everyone does, like most of the artists in the park also you can scan, and they have their whole history. But people, I also feel like they like to follow their artists and they want multiple pieces, especially if there's someone that they like and they like that style. They usually kind of, keep a few pieces from the artist. So,
Right.
yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. So there's some shows that have photography. And I always felt like photography is about just loving a picture and just having a relationship with it, as opposed to a painting, and the integrity of the painter is a more serious and committed relationship.
Yeah.
Do you see that in what people are like? If somebody's interested in, okay, does it ever come up that somebody is requesting a piece of artwork that they just want something to fill a space, but they're not something they want to really be connected with following an artist?
Yeah. Although I feel like a lot of times with photography, especially in this city, they definitely want something that is Philadelphia based. Right? So whether it's South Street or it's Rittenhouse Square Park or the Liberty Bell or just the love sign, like they want something connected to Philadelphia. But also photography, if it's taken not necessarily intentional, it looks like art. Like some photography looks, you have to look really close to see that it's not a painting or an illustration or something like that. But I like to mix both because then you're not so blah, like
Right.
you do a
Absolutely.
thing. Yeah.
So our beloved board member Carrie Sacco just asked how to volunteer at the Rittenhouse show.
So you can volunteer by going on the Rittenhouse Fine Art Show website and you can click volunteer, or you can go on Volunteer Match and you can also volunteer that way. How was that, Kara?
Perfect. So yes, for everybody out there that wants to be involved with the show and you're a fan of art, you're a fan of Rittenhouse Square Park, you're a fan of Philadelphia,
Yeah,
volunteering to help with the show and being part of the team and being able to work with the crew, the whole gang that helps run this thing is a great opportunity. And yeah, it's a great chance to just to meet everybody, to spend time with the artists, and to be part of of our team. So
absolutely.
so thank you for that.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
no,
weird.
I've been serving on the board now for way too long. I don't even like to mention how long. It makes me really seem like a dinosaur. Yeah, actually, it's been 25 years I've been serving on the board of
25.
directors. It's,
That's
yeah,
incredible.
I'm like the dinosaur. It was, well, actually, when I first started doing shows, Rittenhouse Square Fine Art Show was one of my first shows, and Russell Ketch was the director at the time, and I pulled him aside and I said, Russell, why is this show 5 days long? This is kind of crazy. And he said, oh, you complain too much. You'd be a good contender to be on the board.
Aha.
So as soon as I started doing shows, I was immediately invited to serve on the board. And as soon as I arrived, I started shaking the tree and just saying, well, I'm here because I should be able to help shape it and develop it and help it be all it can be. And 25 years later, I'm still trying to make sure I'm relevant in doing that.
Bravo.
Thank you.
That's incredible. I did not know that about you.
Yeah, so I'm like the time capsule that remembers how things used to be.
When they hung
Um,
art from the trees.
no, not quite that far back with the black and white photos. No, they had color television when I started, but no, but we used to have to tear down our display every night for every night of the 5 day show.
Oh my.
It was inside the park, and the security guards had to be able to look through the whole park and not see any obstructions. So all of the tents had to be taken down every night.
Where did I don't even want to think about that. That's
Yeah.
never back.
Well, I mean, at a certain point, they thought that we were the ones damaging the grass in the
Oh,
park, and they said we don't really want you damaging the grass. And that's when we made the decision. We still want to call it the Rittenhouse Square Show, we need to be on the sidewalk surrounding the park.
right.
And that's how it took the shape that it has now, which is, for a long time now, it's very recognizable and it's a tried and true formula, as evidenced by the craft event using our same template.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a good decision that was made, and a lot of things changed with that. That we were able to shorten the show. We no longer had a sales desk to arrange all of the sales. The show no longer had to take a commission to get its operating budget up and running.
Oh
And
my.
then for that reason, we're able to do an outreach and gain exhibitors from all over the country and even Canada and other countries. So, yeah, it's all the decisions over the years have helped shape it. And more effectively, most recently, having people like yourself,
Mhm.
Paris, a hospitality director, having just so many more people involved and people to organize the people involved has really just raised the bar even more.
That's incredible. Because I didn't realize that. So you mean to tell me someone had to run in the middle to pay for art that was on the outside, or it's mad.
No, there was a sales desk set up in the Ethical Society building.
That's even worse.
So everybody had to run their sale through the sales desk,
Oh
and
my,
then they would issue a check to the artist later. But they
wow.
would keep a commission based on what they needed to continue running the show each year.
Wow. That's
Really?
that's
Yeah,
interesting.
because because at one point they believed that there was some law about not being able to conduct business inside of a city park,
Oh,
which I think somebody actually tried to track that down and realized that it doesn't really exist. So
right.
somebody asked here, how do sales work now? We handle our own sales,
Yeah,
and yeah, so basically, just like every other event in the country, we handle our own sales.
yeah. Wow. That just seemed like a lot more work.
Well, I mean, it was, but it allowed us to have a cheaper entry fee,
Okay.
and then you would take the commission to help run the show. And then there wound up being a diminishing rate the first $5,000 in sales was a certain rate, the next 5,000, and then from 10,000 to 15,000 was a smaller percentage being taken
Right.
as the commission.
So it's like furniture sales. Like
Right.
sell 100,000, you're at 7%, a year or what, a month or whatever the case may be, which makes sense in small scale, like smaller. But here
Yeah,
we are. We got it all together.
we did. We got it all together. And thanks to you, we're even better than we were. So
Oh, you.
this was fun. Thank you so much, Paris,
Yay.
for joining us here. This was really informative. This is the biggest interaction interplay I've had with the viewing public because these are subjects that everybody's wondering about, and I'm sure that this episode will be used for reference for
Yay.
years to come.
That,
So I'm sorry.
that's awesome. This was exciting. I was a little nervous.
Wow. It's just me, nothing to be nervous about, and of course, several million people watching, but that's fine.
Oh,
So Parris Bacai is with Urban Poetic Interior Design. It's urbanpoeticdesign.com. Their showroom is right by Rittenhouse Square Park.
well, I work out of the showroom, but I just have an office. But I'll have a new showroom soon. So
Oh, really? And where's that going to be?
I can't tell you yet. So
Oh, well, maybe during the June show you could corner
yeah.
Paris and find out where is that showroom.
Mm-hmm.
All right, very exciting, very exciting. All right, thank you again, and thank you all for joining me and joining us. This was great. Jen, oh, thank you for joining us, and everybody. Enjoy the spring. It's like just gorgeous. I mean, some days like today, it might be cloudy, but you know what they say about April showers that they bring. What is it? May
Mayflower.
flowers.
Can't wait.
So it's going to be a beautiful spring. It's going to be colorful. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Paris.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, pleasure was all ours. All right. Bye bye, everybody.
Take care.